Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics. Our program spotlights people in our city who are involved in activities designed to promote good human relations. I am Michael Keller, Chair of the Annapolis Human Relations Commission and your host for this show. The Annapolis Human Relations Commission is a city board that seeks to promote equal opportunity and to eliminate discrimination. My guest today is Jim Turner, the facility manager at the Stanton Community Center. Jim, welcome to Annapolis Mosaics.
Glad to be with you, Mike, again.
Yes, yes. I might say that Jim used to be a member of the Annapolis Human Relations Commission and served us with very great distinction as he is doing today with the Stanton Center.
Thank you.
Well, Jim, tell our viewers, some of whom may not have even heard of the Stanton Community Center, a little bit about what its mission is, what's its purpose in the community.
Well, I'd like to give you a little history on the Stanton
Okay,
Center, if I may.
okay, certainly.
The Stanton Center was founded circa 1865. It was the first colored school, quote unquote, colored school, that was built in the city for Negro children at the time. The Stanton School got its name from Edward Stanton, and he used to be the United States Attorney General in the James Buchanan administration. Subsequent to that, he was the Secretary of War during Abraham Lincoln's term, and he was responsible for donating materials to build the Stanton Center. The Stanton School, as I said, was the first Negro elementary and high school. In 1974, the school reopened as the Stanton Community Center. It had been closed and it was used as a storage facility by the Anne Arundel County School Board. So when they rebuilt, when they opened the Stanton Center, after years of wear and tear, the city had to do one of two things. They had to tear it down because of its deteriorating condition, or they had to renovate it. Well, what happened in 1974, a committee led by a man that you may know of, it was a bunch of prominent black members of the city, of the members of a group led by Wally H. Bates, the guy that found Bates High School.
Right.
And they petitioned the city. The city did a needs assessment and came up with about $2.5 million to renovate the Stanton Center. So in 1995, they started doing that. In the year 2000, they had completely renovated the building, and today the Stanton Center is one of the most unique community centers, and I would say in the nation, because we house so many resources in that building. I think we far exceed our mission. Today we have housed in that building the Annapolis Medical and Dental Outreach Clinic, who does a marvelous job with the uninsured and underinsured. We have the Youth Services Bureau, who counsels parents and their children. We have We Care, run by Larry Griffin. I'm pretty sure the audience there have heard about Larry Griffin. And he helps the poor. He does drug rehabilitation. He feeds the poor. He does a myriad of things for the disadvantaged. And let's see, we have an excellent recreation program run by a gentleman named Archie Trader. Now, as you know, the Stanton Center is under the oversight and management of Parks and Recreation's Director, Leanne Plummer. So you have a quick, brief history of the Stanton Center.
What exactly are the Stanton Center provides a vast array of programs, resources, services to the community. You mentioned a number of the organizations that actually have been allowed to be housed at the Stanton Center. Tell us a little bit more about some of the specific programs and resources and services and activities
Okay.
that go on a daily basis at the Stanton Community Center?
We have a lot of organizations who meet at the Stanton Center, the public safety team. There's a STAIRS program, and that's a reading adventure program for the kids. Let's see, we have after-school homework. We have basketball tournaments. We even have a chess class for the young kids. Recently, about approximately 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had an dental access day, 2 days. And I'll tell you what that's all about.
Okay.
Paul Lanke, I think his name is, out of Baltimore. That's a foundation that set up this dental access days. And what they did, they've been doing this for 35 years. It just got to Annapolis. They brought down 10 mobile dental chairs. And they had about 30 volunteer dentists and another 20, 25 dental hygienists. And they saw over 180 people during those 2 days, Thursday and Friday. Some of those people, Mike, had never seen a dentist before, and they were adults. And this is I'm just so proud of the fact that we did it at the Stanton Center. And I understand that the mayor and a representative from the Lanke Foundation had been talking about the possibility of doing it on an annual basis. And what that did too, if we leave, there was a waiting list of people waiting to go into our dental clinic, and that sort of relieved that backlog for the dental clinic. You'd be surprised at the amount of residents who are underinsured or just don't have an insurance. So those are some of the things that we do. Organizations meet there. We have a huge gymnasium with a large movie screen, a sound system, a state-of-the-art kitchen. So we have wedding receptions, funeral repasts. The mayor meets there occasionally. There's organizations who come from out of state who meet and use the gym as a place for conferences and all. We have a large conference room. In fact, we have two, but we have a large conference room that's used as we're booked up almost every night with something going on. And also, I'm a member of the Community Development Corporation in the Clay Street area. They meet there occasionally. And what we're trying to do is revitalize the businesses in the Clay Street area. But if I may, I would like to say one thing. People have the perception in the Annapolis area that the Stanton Center is a Clay Street Community Center, and that is false. The Stanton Community Center is a community center for the whole city of Annapolis, and occasionally we bring in residents from the county as well. So I wanted to make that clear.
If some of our viewers today say, gee, would like to have our organization meet at the Stanton Center or to have access to the Stanton Center, what criteria do you use to determine whether an organization can meet or not meet at the Stanton Center? What's the process for using the facility?
Okay. First, we have a lease agreement, a very specific and comprehensive lease agreement. If you are a 501c3 and you're doing something for the community, we don't charge. But if you're not, there is a small charge to use any of the conference rooms or the gym or the kitchen. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of each week, people are allowed to come in and fill out the leasing application. If you're having a party, for instance, and you want to serve liquor, you then would have to go to the Alcohol and Control Board, city, and you have to do this 60 days in advance. And they will either approve a one-day liquor license or disapprove. And once that's approved, you bring it back to the Stanton Center, and then we will grant that lease for you. So that's one way of. But normally, anything that's community-oriented, we don't charge at all. You just have to come in and make sure that we have a date that is open on our calendar.
Right. Who are would you say the biggest clients of the Stanton Center in terms of who uses it now? Are there things about the Stanton Center that right now that are underutilized that you sort of like to see greater utilized, you mentioned that there's a perception in the community that it's a Clay Street Center, but rather it is indeed a community center for the entire city. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. So, are there?
Well, there's
Who's your biggest clientele right now, and what are some of the areas of the Stanton Center that you think are sort of underutilized, perhaps?
I don't think there's anything underutilized.
Okay.
We hardly have enough space to do the things that we're doing.
All right.
But the the organizations who are housed in the building, they sometimes use one or two or more of our conference rooms. There's always something going on. We have the Clay Street Public Safety Team. We even have a church service on Sundays. We have Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholic Anonymous. There's just so many things, and sometimes we have to look very closely and say to ourselves, how much more can we do? We don't like to turn anyone down, but it is overutilized rather than underutilized.
Okay. Right. Okay. You mentioned the fact that its location is one that gives a perception. Have you encountered in your role as facilities manager anybody who would say, well, gee, because of its location, are we going to be safe coming to the Stanton Center?
Good
and how do you respond to that kind of a question? Because again, of the image of Clay. I mean, Clay Street is going through a revitalization. It's changing, and it's been a long-time viable neighborhood in Annapolis. But there's a perception of safety, and especially at a time when the issue of crime has become so important in the city of Annapolis. You're going to have some people who say, well, maybe we just not ought to go there. How do you deal with that? How do you respond to that?
Okay, I'll give you one example. 2 years ago, I, in concert with Anne Arundel Community College, established 2 classes at the Stanton Center. GED class, what they call Adult Basic Skills, and we had an EBS, English Basic Skills. I knew that people needed to come there to get an education, so it shouldn't have been too much to do. A lot of people, we couldn't fill those classes up simply because the people were intimidated and were afraid to come. So at times we do have problems with that. To put a plug in for the new police chief and what his police department is doing now, a lot of that drug deals and people walking the streets and intimidating other people, it seems to have lowered. It's going away. I think the police department has done a humongous job over there. But I'll give you another example. We had a lady who came who wanted to do a beauty contest that led into the Maryland beauty contest. While she was parked, she left her pocketbook in a truck and walked into the building to converse with me. And she really wanted to have that beauty contest at the Stanton Center, the initial one. When she went back to her truck, someone had broken it into her truck and stole her money, her pocketbook, and everything else. Now, she was wrong for leaving her pocketbook on the seat, because you could be in any neighborhood and that could possibly happen. But basically, and overall, it's safe to come to the Stanton Center. Now, you have to be careful at night, but I don't know of anybody, since I've been there 2 years, who've gotten robbed or had an altercation or anything like that. We have had very few altercations, and I'm very proud to say, since I've been there, I have specifically, what I've done is to modify the lease so that it could lead directly into less risk management. That means if the teenagers want to dance, it has to be over at 8 o'clock. No alcohol.
Right.
Okay. You have to have security guards. You have to have invitations. And the list of people that you have invited has to be in my office. So we've tightened up on the rules, and as a result, we've lessened the amount of trouble that we've had at the Stanton Center. So we're in a pretty safe environment.
We've been talking with Jim Turner, facility manager at the Stanton Community Center in Annapolis. We're going to take a short break, but when we return, we're going to talk with Jim about the challenges and his vision for the Stanton Center. We're talking with Jim Turner, Facilities Manager at the Stanton Community Center in Annapolis. Jim, you talked about the dental program at the Stanton Center. Are there other activities or services or events that you're especially proud of that you would like to share with our viewers today?
Well, one of the things I'm proud of as far as being the facility manager there is first, I'm a graduate of Stanton Elementary School. And when I look at the disadvantaged folk that come there for one of our resources and the at-risk youth, it makes me feel good because now I know that they have a chance that maybe some people like myself didn't have when we were back there. When you see adults coming in who have no insurance or who are underinsured and they're sick and they need medical attention, that's something that's unique in a community center. You don't really see a dental and medical clinic in the same building. So it's just so great to be a part of the Stanton Center because I think about the old adage of helping people to help themselves. And that's what we do at the Stanton Center, and I think we're good at that. There are just so many different things that we offer.
It's my understanding that the Stanton Center features an historic classroom.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Tell our viewers about that.
Well, the classroom looks exactly like it did approximately 100 years ago. They have the old blackboards in the room. They have the old desk where a kid could sit in the front of you and he would have a desk, and then another kid and another kid. I think people need to come around and look at that. Lots of people from other states come by to visit. And as you know, Janice Hayes always brings them over and let them look at the historical classroom. We have photographs on the wall of children who graduated from Stanton Center. And by the way, there's a lady that's almost 101 years old who's still living, who graduated from the Stanton Center. So it's a lot of history in that classroom. And I invite anybody in the city who wants to come over and take a look. A lot of history.
What upcoming events do you have at the Stanton Center that you think would be of interest to our viewers?
Well, we have an annual AIDS Day that's coming back in December. And I'm pretty proud of that because they even bus people all the way from Baltimore. And most of these people are homeless. And some are sick and some are affected with AIDS or HIV. And what they do is they gather at the Stanton Center. They are fed, and then they march over to the governor's or to the State House. And they meet with different legislators and all. And then they come back, and about 9 o'clock that night, the buses take them back to Baltimore. So that'll be happening in the middle of December.
All right.
There's another event coming up with the United Healthcare folk. They will be coming down to make people aware of what health benefits they have. A lot of people just don't know that there are free health treatments at no cost. And so we're going to be having that. We have a full calendar from now up until Christmas with events going on.
Good. Jim, what do you see as the greatest challenges that are facing the Stanton Community Center? Obviously, you've got lots of things going on. Your facility is widely used. Got some great programs, great activities going on. A lot of community groups use it, but every organization's got some challenges that they face. What do you see as your greatest challenges now?
I don't know if this is a challenge or not, but I do know since they built the Bates Center out there, they have a board, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Boys and Girls Club have a center at Bates. They also have one in one of the housing projects. Public Housing is building a recreation center in the future on Clay Street. And the First Baptist Church has just purchased a building that maybe have some different things going on in there that prior to having that building, they were holding them at the Stanton Center. So the challenge is going to be, how do we continue to support the at-risk children and adults without charging them? You see, we have a good program of recreation in parks, on St. Mary Street. Most of the kids there are lots of recreation programs, but they cost the children. On the other hand, the Stanton Center do not charge because we know the kids can't afford it or the parents can't afford it. So one of the challenges for me will be to ensure that we stay vibrant, that we offer good programs so that the people can continue to come to us. I would like to see in the future if we could have programs to raise funding to help at-youth children attend college. I know the mayor is working on something called Rock the Youth, which intends to raise money for kids to go to college. But and maybe we can get involved. In fact, I'm on that committee. But those are some of the challenges that I think we have, is just staying in business and making sure that we're efficient and that we are doing things that are helping people and not just looking good on paper, but not doing anything for anybody. But I don't think we have that problem. Because if you ask anybody who comes to the Stanton Center on a regular basis, they'll tell you that we far exceed our mission. So,
I know you have an actual mission statement. And what does that mission statement actually say?
let me, if I can
yeah,
just make sure that I don't
if you've
miss
got it.
anything here. We'll let that stay there. I'll read that to you.
Okay.
The mission statement: the Stanton Community Center, a division of the Recreation and Parks Department, City of Annapolis. The center is responsible for creating and providing recreation, cultural enrichment, and other community services necessary to promote the public health and the wellness for youth and adults. Pretty short, but it covers a lot.
And it also, I think, summarizes very well the specifics that you've given our viewers
It
today.
sure does.
Because
sure
it
does.
sounds that you're right in tune with your mission statement in terms of what you're doing for the community
Sure.
right now.
And you know, if I can interject about the challenges in the building. One big challenge we have, Mike, is the fact that the building is old. And I know that the mayor has been interested in this, and I'm pretty sure they're going to do something. But we have deteriorating wooden window frames, and there's the leaky roofs. So those are some of the challenges that the city has to look at and provide some sort of, or at least place something in the budget, some kind of funding in the budget to correct those deficiencies, building deficiencies. Now that's a challenge because I'm familiar with the budget and I know that the city is doing everything they can to fix that, but that's another challenge.
Jim, of all the things that have happened at the Stanton Center since you've been facility manager, what are you most proud of?
I'm proud of the fact that I'm a graduate of the Stanton Elementary School. I am a retired senior manager with the Defense Department. Never ever thought that I would be back in that building as the manager of that building. So I'm just so proud to be one of the things that I wanted to do when I retired was to come back and take the skills I've learned and pass those skills down to the younger kids. And I've been able to do that at the Stanton Center. I love my job and I love what I'm doing.
Yeah. Now, you had talked a little bit about the Rock the Youth program in terms of something that's coming down the path. What other vision do you have for the Stanton Center? Looking out 10 years, what would you like the Stanton Center to be in 10 years? What would you like to see?
I would like
Put your visionary cap on.
Well, my visionary cap would like to see, or at least be able to transmit information to all of the residents of this city and let them know that the Stanton Center is a city community center. A lot of people, again, think the Stanton Center is a Clay Street community center. And the reason I would like to see that done is because I think more people can take advantages of the myriad of resources that we have in that building.
Jim, how can people learn about the Stanton Center? Let's say people want to learn more about it, they want to get in touch with you. How can they reach you?
Well, my personal, I shouldn't say personal, city email is jturner@annapolis.gov. I'll repeat that, jturner@annapolis.gov. Our telephone number is 410-295-5519. Want me to repeat that again?
Yes.
Okay, telephone number 410-295-5519. We are open on a daily basis from 8:30 in the morning until 9 p.m. at night. And one of the reasons for the closing at 9 p.m. is we want to make sure that the kids come home from school and then come to us, do their homework, get home at a reasonable hour, and then we separate the young kids from the teenagers. So if you come down anytime between 8 and 9, you're going to see the teenagers playing basketball.
Right. Well, thank you for joining us today on Annapolis Mosaics, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in to our program today. And please join us again for another episode. If you would like more information about the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, just take down the information that's on your screen. We can be reached at 410-263-7998 or by email at hrcommission@annapolis.gov. And always remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said that we have learned to fly the air like birds and swim the seas like fish, but we have yet to learn the simple act of walking the earth like brothers and sisters.
Amen.